G'day guys, welcome back to another Collingwood review on the channel. My first for 2024. Normally exciting times, but today I'll be reviewing Collingwood's 32-point defeat from last night's final game of the opening round for 2024. And we did in fact lose by 32 points in a pretty humiliating contest, really. In my opinion, we were never really in it. The first 10 minutes, I want to say, was good. Not great, but good. And then, the rest of the game, we were just outclassed by a Giants team that looked scary good, dangerously good. They got so much reward for all their effort. They kind of deserved it a lot more in the end. It was quite a frustrating, start to the season. Going down by 32 points away. I always knew it was going to be difficult, and I knew it was going to be, tough to win. And it's a big game, and we've got such a big start to the season that games like these we can't really be affording to drop. It is the first game only, and we've got things to take out of this game, and a few things to worry about, but nothing really too severe, I want to say. As we did start well, I feel like apart from that, GWS were on top for the rest of the game, and you could kind of tell it was going to happen, I want to say. After, the first 10 minutes, the next 5 minutes, it was just all GWS for that one quarter. They were just dominant, really, for the rest of the game. And, it was very, very frustrating. Our defence, it was terrible. Pretty shocking. Our defence, we just couldn't defend some of their forwards. Daniels, Brown, Hogan, they all kicked over 4 goals each, and Brown kicked 5. He was absolutely instrumental. Hogan kicked 4. He looks really, really dangerous, as predicted by some. Brent Daniels kicked 4 as well. Their forward line just looks so good. Cadman kicked 2. We held Toby Green to only 15 disposals and 1 goal, so a little win there. It was just the same 3 players that just got the better of us. And look, we know we had Jeremy Howe out, so there is that. But we had Charlie Dean out as well, a debutant playing, he had some nice moments. That's exciting, I guess, and a positive to take out of the game. I want to say he played amazingly, because he only had the 9 touches, but he did some nice things. I don't think he should be dropped from the side. Like, I think he should still be in the 22-23 come next game, but it will be tough with Howe coming back. So then again, I feel like he might miss. There were some positives, though. I feel like it was the same players that just got the better of us from the Giants. Taylor with his intercepts, though, mind you, he didn't have as much influence as I thought he would have. Bedford was quiet as well. Apart from Cadman in the second and third quarter, he was pretty quiet as well. Iden was quiet, which was unusual. Briggs was quiet. I mean, they had good moments, but for their, for their normality, they were quiet. So, that, I just feel like it was the same players. Lockie Ash had a big game. Josh Kelly, he got a little injury in the fourth quarter, but apart from that, he was superb, probably their best midfielder. Whitfield had a heap of the ball, so did Tom Green, as you would expect. Nick Haynes was really good in defence for them. And, the forwards I've already spoken about, and Cornelio as well. For us, I feel like Darcy Cameron was probably our best, either him or Nick Dacos. Probably Nick Dacos. had 34 touches, kicked a goal, had some nice moments, had some interesting moments, I want to say, as well, by foot, especially early on. Josh Dacos was superb, as you would expect. Maynard was superb. He also kicked a goal, which is very rare. And I feel like every single time, certain amount of players like, DeGoey, Myercheck, Pendlebury, Crisp, Sidebottom, every single time, and even McCreary, every single time the ball was in their hands, we looked like we were either going to score or, we looked good. But yeah, they just barely got any of the ball. That's the only problem. And when they got the ball, they did good things with it, especially Pendlebury. Like, his kicking efficiency in this game was absolutely humongous. And he's still so underrated, in my opinion, Pendlebury. In terms of on the quiet side, Ash Johnson was disappointing. So was Mason Cox. We knew Mason Cox was going to be targeted after, some of his comments that he's made in the media. John Noble came on as the sub in the third quarter to replace Mitchell, who had kicked a goal and only had 9 touches, which is a quiet game for Mitchell. But yeah, Noble impressed, but I don't think he did enough to probably get into the 22. But then again, who knows? Maybe he did. He had some good speed and, it gave us a different dynamic of the game. Dean as well. 9 touches, probably not enough, I want to say. Bobby Hill looked good early, but just, faded. Same with Myercheck. He looked ominous, but he missed a few that he probably should have kicked. McCreary looked dangerous when he had the ball. I think I've said that already, though, so I'm probably just repeating myself now. Overall, disappointing game. Look, our forward line wasn't amazing, but we still scored 82 points. Mind you, we got a couple cheap ones late. So I guess that kind of flooded us on the scoreboard. We definitely didn't deserve to have 82 points at the end of the game. But we did kick 16 points, however. Lockie Schultz, he missed 3. Jamie Elliott missed every shot he had on goal. There was that as well. Darcy Moore was relatively quiet as well. I haven't mentioned him yet. He had an interesting, a mid-type game. And thankfully for us, we didn't have any injuries, which is one positive as well that we can take out of the game. But yeah, GWS did. Callum Ward. That looks like a serious injury. But yeah, hopefully, he's all right. But the Giants, credit to them. I haven't said it yet. Credit to them. They look like a dangerous side. The way they use their, their ball movement and the usage of half back as well. Just absolutely superb. The usage of handballs, kicking the ball and wasting time when, they needed to. And just dominance and clearances. Just getting it into their forward line. And sure, they got so many fluky goals, too many to count. But when you think about it, they just played so much better than us and they got their reward on the scoreboard. And was a disappointing way to start the season, obviously. But look, nothing yet to worry about. Obviously, inaccuracy for some of our forwards and, not getting as good looks as we have in the past. Just being under pressure as well. That Giants pressure was just ridiculous. When we put on our pressure, though, we looked somewhat better. But we didn't really put on enough, in my opinion. And, it's a tough one, isn't it? It does sting quite a bit. It's a better way to start, the premiership defence. But we're unveiling our flag this week against Sydney at the MCG. That's exciting times, and hopefully we can bounce back and just show everyone and remind everyone, that we're still a contender to win the flag. Because I feel like GWS have certainly, put a benchmark and a message to the rest of the comp that, they're going to be up here this season. And they look really tough to beat, perhaps at home now. So, maybe they're building a bit of a fortress up there. That's pretty much all I have to say for this game. I did want to mention this. It's not really important, is it? but I think GWS were robbed of a point, as I've got the proof of a screenshot that I took at 3/4 time. 90-49 it was. But when you look on the scoreboard and when I checked back when the game, returned for the fourth quarter, it was 89-49. So GWS, I believe, were robbed by a point. If anyone knows what that's about, I'd like to know. But yeah, I believe they were robbed of a point, which is bizarre. Never seen that before. But I guess that kind of helps us, though, so I'm not really complaining. I just wanted to point it out. But yeah, tough start to the season. We'll have to review, what we did and tighten up our defensive structure a little bit. Because players like Quainer and even Maynard and Moore at times, they just got beaten. And that's fair enough. It was an off game for our defence, even our forward line as well, even our midfield. We just couldn't win it in the midfield. So it's an off game in general for us. Was it a disaster? Not really, but it certainly could have been. But yeah, look, hopefully you guys enjoyed my review. And I'll see you guys next week after the game against the Sydney Swans at the G.